Today, for the moms, I'm making my beautiful bacon, onion, and cheese tart.
You said it.
Very simple. It's so delicious. So what we're gonna do very simply, I have started over here, if you can take a look at this, is onions that are finely sliced. I put them with bacon. I put them in together. Normally you wouldn't do this. All I want to do is render it lightly. I'm just getting to soften the bacon up with the onions, and I didn't add any salt because the bacon's very salty. I'm gonna add some pepper. The thing here is I'm just getting it started because it's gonna cook again in the oven. This is usually you fry the bacon, get it crisp, take it out, and then fry in that fat. We don't want that. Now, if it gets a little hot, a secret I have, I know, Alex, you do this all the time in the kitchen as well, a little water. Water stops everything, and it produces steam. It lets it stop the caramelization, and if you want to restart it, put it back on the fire, and if it gets too brown again, put some water in. So this is just about done. I'm gonna turn it off and let it just hang out in the pan. Very simple.
That's actually kind of radical, though, to not
It is. It's like
cook bacon crispy.
Yeah, it's a bread. I like to actually cook bacon with water in a pan, which is a weird way to do it, but it works.
Very good method.
Here I have farmer's cheese. It's unaged, right? It's just fresh cheese. So very inexpensive. You can find it anywhere. This is actually from the farmer's market. A little creme fraiche or double cream or whatever.
Cream.
Yeah.
You see, if you didn't have access to farmer's cheese, could you use like a cream cheese?
I wouldn't use a cream cheese. I'd use something that's a little not as sharp. Okay, so I'm putting that in here. The creme fraiche, 1 egg yolk, a little salt and pepper.
Yeah.
That's a good looking egg yolk.
How about just like the cheap date?
No problem.
Could I mix cream cheese and sour cream?
You
half
sure
and
could.
half?
You could do sour
Soft
cream. You could
cream
absolutely.
cheese.
What you're trying to do is get this consistency. You do need the yolk. The yolk provides a little, it grabs the pastry, right? It has to, and it doesn't. If other than that, it's too wet. Okay.
Yeah.
It also adds such a nice richness to it
Yeah.
and good color.
So let's get to the pastry. Really important, the pastry. This is store-bought puff pastry.
GC, don't you think that puff pastry is one of the things that store-bought is just as good, if not better, than homemade?
I got a whole list of things that are store-bought that are fine.
To me, it's like brownie mix and puff pastry, always store-bought.
There's nothing wrong with going to the store and buying stuff. You see how thin that is? Can you get in there and see how thin that is? So I've really rolled it up very thin.
All right, so you took the store-bought
Yes.
out and you just ran a pin over it.
So much so that one layer, there's another one of these in there. So then you could actually make two with this
whoa.
mixture. So it's inexpensive and efficient and delicious. So our oven is on 425. We're gonna get some fresh thyme here. Did you grow this, Jeff, for me?
Yeah, I did in my vertical garden right there. That's upcycled. 28-ounce cans of San Marzano tomatoes.
We're gonna put some fresh thyme in here, just a little bit. If you drop the herb in, the stem, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
I love that you didn't cook it in yet.
No, you don't wanna cook this in yet, no.
Bacon and thyme and onions.
Okay. So we're just gonna assemble. This couldn't be easier. Before we do that, let me get, I'm gonna dock it, which is, usually they have a docker, which is a rolling pin with little spikes on it, but you just use a fork. And the reason why you do this is to sort of decrease the rise of this without going to the edge, because the edge is gonna form a little rise, so it's gonna look higher in the edge and lower in the center. So don't—
Pizza crust.
Yeah, you get
We're
something
going
like
for
that.
it.
But this is puff pastry and it has a lot of layers of butter, so this really flies up.
Poofs. It's a poof pastry.
So we have it on a parchment paper, easy cleanup. We're gonna take our egg creme fraiche delicious mixture here and just spread it. Not a lot.
I love a fancy recipe like this that's actually minimal effort.
It's not much at all.
People are very impressed with this. I make this all the time.
There's so much flavor going on in there.
Okay, so now we're just gonna take our onion, thyme, bacon mixture. It's like, this is sweated. It's not crisped up, really important. And we're gonna be generous with this because this is really where all the incredible flavor comes from, is that bacon. And the bacon has gone into the onion, which is even better. Oh, this is gonna get bubbly. The onion's gonna continue to cook. The bacon's gonna go to the next level. It's still not gonna get really crispy. That's not what we want. But what's really gonna make this thing is the combination together with that puff pastry and some chives on top is like to die for. Okay, in the oven, 425, 25 minutes.
Till it's poofy.
Till it's cooked.
I like the border. You gotta leave that border around there, just so you have something to grab onto.
Well, you're gonna see the border in a second.
Can you do a stuffed crust, like with like mozzarella
Oh
sticks?
man, this looks good.
You see that? So that's just like, see, that's
Geoffrey.
because you've left that. And I always like to garnish this with,
Ooh, don't burn yourself, buddy.
with a little fresh chives. Cut your chives if you can at the last minute.
Why is that?
You'll use less.
Yeah.
Because you have these chives, then what do you do with them? And you throw them in like anything, and it doesn't make any sense. Cut them like this, wrap them back up in a wet paper towel.
Smart.
Okay.
Smart.
Are we ready to
so
taste?
Pretty.
Oh,
And
I know
just
you're
so,
not done garnishing.
No, I'm
yet,
not.
though.
For Alex, I had to put something extra. So I'm gonna put a little pecorino romano.
This is a Geoffrey Zakarian
But I love
dish.
pecorino
It has
romano.
pecorino romano.
Yep, and chives.
I think of you every time I get out pecorino romano now.
I'm happy that that's what you think of. Okay, little pizza peel. These are fantastic. They're easy.
Pizza cutter.
They're just easier. Pizza cutter, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
You got it, bro.
You put that out on the board like that, warm,
man.
with a bottle of champagne, and you will devour this, literally.
Ooh, that looks
wow.
good. That crust.
You know I'm dying.
You're right, champagne would be so perfect with that.
Just the cheese, the onion, the bacon is just cooked enough, still pliable, and just the development of that puff pastry is so timely, but it adds so much. All those layers of butter, it's flaky, it's crispy, it's just buttery enough, and it's thin.
Bagels are a classic brunch food, so I am gonna make them super sweet and luscious with a yummy glaze over the top. You're not gonna know what hit you with these. They are incredible. So I've got mini bagels, and I am making a cream cheese mixture. I was just kind of getting the cream cheese started, wanted to soften it a little bit. So I'm gonna sweeten up the cream cheese with a couple of tablespoons of maple syrup. That is awfully sweet indeed. And then vanilla bean paste. I'm just gonna pour in about a tablespoon or so. This stuff is a miracle. The flavor is incredible, and you get these little flecks of vanilla bean all throughout whatever you add it to. I always need to have something really sweet and decadent on any sort of brunch buffet, but I love these because they're sort of a cross between cinnamon toast and sticky buns, just amazing. All right, I got all of this mixed together. So now I'm gonna spread this mixture on these mini bagels. So I'll get a good amount on a knife and just smear it all over the surface. And you wanna be generous. This is no time to practice restraint. All right, one bagel half done. Now I'm gonna do the same thing to the rest. Okay, they're all spread. Right now they kind of look like just traditional bagels with cream cheese, but there is nothing traditional about this. I'm gonna make a streusel topping for these bagels, and I'm just gonna tell you, they send these over the top. So I've got some rolled oats and brown sugar, flour, and pecans. This is kind of a classic streusel mixture. And I'll break that up real quick and then add some cinnamon and baking powder and then a good pinch of salt. I really like that saltiness in any sort of sweet streusel topping. So I want to make sure this is all mixed together. This would go great on apple pie or anything that needs a streusel topping, even muffins. All right, now I have a little skillet of melted butter, and it is salted butter as well, so it's got a little of that yummy salt that I like. And I'm stirring gradually as I drizzle it in. I don't want it to go in quickly because it'll form kind of a big clump, and I want it to be more evenly distributed and not get too wet. All right, looks great. So now I'll just kind of fold and stir until it all just barely comes together. Oh, it smells so good. And now that is something about these bagels that is great for brunch. You want to bake them pretty close to when the guests get to your house because the smell is incredible. It's kind of like you're burning a cinnamon roll candle or something. Really tasty. Okay, now the streusel goes on top of the bagels. And you can use a scoop if you want, but I'm just gonna use my fingers, which is my favorite tool sometimes. And I'm just gonna do a little mound on each bagel. And if a little streusel gets on the sheet pan, that is just fine. And I like the mini bagels because you don't wind up with just a huge helping for each person. And that's the thing about brunch buffets or any buffet, you want everything to be, you know, not overwhelmingly huge, and then everybody can serve themselves an assortment and it'll all still fit on the plate. These are all ready to go in the oven. So I'm gonna bake them at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes until they're bubbly, caramelized, and magical. A lot of very good things happened in that oven. The streusel topping got a little bit golden on top, and the cream cheese got nice and soft. So first things first, I'm gonna get all the bagels onto the platter. So they are 99% perfect. I just need to drizzle on this yummy glaze, and all it is powdered sugar, heavy cream, and a pinch of salt to offset all the sweetness. So I'll just use the fork and let it kind of fall naturally onto the bagel, and no need to be shy with this. Really drizzle it on. This is part of what's so magical about these. And honestly, this is one of those things where it's like, is this really a breakfast food? Or is this a decadent dessert? All right, one more. Basically, you want to drizzle until your countertop is a mess like mine is. Gotta go back to the first one. I was being shy there on the first one.
Pineapple upside down pancakes.
Yes.
Wow. And here it is right here. Are you ready? Starting with, right? We all know what this is. It's canned pineapple segment, right? And all we're gonna do is kind of coat it in some brown sugar, just like that. And we got a nice hot griddle going. Put a little butter on there.
I love pancakes cooked in butter.
I think I think it's a must.
Edges.
Yes, crispy edges, caramelization, like the milk fat in there helps brown it too.
Yes.
So we're gonna do the same and create that caramelization we love in pineapple upside down cakes, right? When you turn it over, the big reveal. So about 5 minutes after a nice caramelization on there, we add a cherry right in the middle of the pineapple. How cute is that?
So cute.
Your favorite pancake batter recipe, and you pour it right on there, right?
Can be right out of a box.
Exactly. No, nobody's gonna judge you here. And it's gonna sit on there, right? Nice medium heat until it's beautiful this color. Let's check this. Can you see what this is? Oh, that's beautiful. Don't be afraid to drag it through the butter a little bit. Too.
Yeah,
There's
give me
nothing wrong
some
with
extra
that.
butter.
Look at there. Put it on a plate.
Yes.
Listen,
Look at that.
I don't think there's any syrup necessary on there,
No,
but what
butter
is
me up.
necessary? It's a couple pads of butter on that warm pancake.
Oh, it's a vacation.
That's a lot
That's
of
a
butter.
vacation, right? Hey, this is not the time to start eating steamed broccoli for breakfast.
Rub it all over there. These pancakes, you really do get the flavor of a pineapple upside down cake.
Strawberry almond pound cake. So I have been using a hand mixer to mix butter and sugar, which is the start of any good pound cake. And I'm gonna add an egg at a time. I've got three total eggs. And,
I thought you said.
the key to this recipe is to add one egg first and then 2 eggs right after that. I'm using a hand mixer because I just didn't feel like dragging out my stand mixer today. Skillets are all about easy, right? You just make it all, bake it, serve it out of the skillet. A true pound cake is a pound of butter, a pound of sugar, and a pound of flour, I think.
Oh, that sounds like a lot.
I added half a cup of sour cream, so eggs, sugar, butter, sour cream, all the good things in life. And now just a cup and a half of flour. Yum, yum. Pound cake is great because it can be dessert or it can be breakfast. It can be like a coffee cake for breakfast. Pinch of salt, a little bit of almond extract instead of vanilla extract, and that is where the almond flavor comes from. And then I'll just put it on very, very low. That almond extract smells so good. Okay, so I have some cut up strawberries, and I actually cut these in half. I'm gonna save the rest and put them on top of the batter. And I'm not gonna mix this, I'm going to fold it so that the strawberries don't completely pulverize and break apart, which actually, if you wanted to, you could mix it and like have little bits of strawberries instead of big bits of strawberries. Okay, then I have iron skillet, and I really generously buttered it.
Oh, yeah.
This weighs a pound or 5. Golly,
Oh.
look how yummy. It's like the perfect consistency. It's really thick. It's not like a thin birthday cake batter. It's like a thick, substantial, almost like a coffee cake. Okay, and then I'm gonna press the rest of these strawberry halves into the top, and that way, when the cake bakes, it kind of like puffs up around the strawberries. Isn't that pretty?
So pretty.
Okay, now I'm gonna make a delightful little crumble to put over the top. 1/4 cup of brown sugar and 1/4 cup of flour. And then just a little bit of butter, and I cut them into teeny little squares. And then I'm going to hope that I can break all this apart with a fork, because there's just not much of it. So I'm just gonna keep doing this until the butter is totally part of the sugar and flour. Okay, now I got that all added, and then the last thing is just sliced almonds. And it's just a nice little crumble topping, and it gets sprinkled over the top, and that's why they call it topping. I cracked myself up. All right, oven, ready?
Yep.
Now, the beautiful thing about a pound cake is it's very dense. So you just bake it at 325 degrees just for about an hour, honestly. It takes quite a while. Low and slow. Look at this beautiful cake. It's been out cooling for about 30 minutes, but look at that gorgeous little crumble, brown sugary topping. Delicious, delicious. So I'm just sifting some powdered sugar, and I'm gonna make a simple glaze because I can't leave well enough alone. I mean, the cake is good enough, but I had to add a crumble on top, and that was good enough, and then I had to go and add a glaze. I like layer upon layer of decadence in my life. Okay, so in the powdered sugar, I'm gonna add some lemon juice, and this should just be enough to make it come together. It doesn't take much, especially when you sift the powdered sugar. Okay, so watch this. Ready? Oh, look. I love this.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It really is, isn't it? Perfect for breakfast, perfect for dessert, perfect for a midnight snack, perfect pound cake, all made in a skillet.
So I'm making my strawberries and cream French toast. To get started, I'll make my go-to French toast custard mixture, which is super simple. I'll crack in 2 eggs, add some whole milk, salt, vanilla and almond extracts, then beat it up. Out of all the breads in the world, challah is definitely one of the best to use for French toast because it's rich and it's sweet already, so it makes it taste even better. And also, when it's a little bit dried out, it laps up that egg custard mixture like a thirsty puppy. Okay, my custard is ready. Now I'll prepare my challah slices. I'll just cut a little pocket in the center of each piece and fill their bellies with a combo of cream cheese and strawberry jam. All right, my challah is stuffed. Now I've got to soak it in the egg mixture. So I'm gonna soak these on both sides for a few minutes until they're soft while I melt some butter on my griddle. You can do no wrong by adding a lot of butter to the French toast. I'm gonna add the French toast. It smells so good already. That's a good sizzle. I'll let these cook on both sides for a few minutes until they're golden brown. And now I don't typically sweeten my egg custard mixture because I don't want any sugar to burn on the outside when it's grilling. That sweetness comes at the end. I'm gonna check them. Oh yeah, okay, that is the color that I'm looking for. Those beautiful brown splotches. So I'm gonna flip these over and let them go until they're that color on the other side too. All right, while these finish up cooking, I'm gonna slice up some strawberries for garnish. I'm slicing them this way so that they look like polka dots. Okay, that French toast is really sizzling loudly. I think it's just about ready. I'll pile these right on. Oh, look at how melty that cream cheese is getting. That's gonna be good. Now, French toast definitely needs something sweet on top, whether it's powdered sugar or maple syrup. My sweetener of choice these days is sweetened condensed milk because it adds creaminess and the texture is thick and luxurious. The sweetened condensed milk is gooey and sticky too. There's just more to love. I'll pile on the strawberries. Ugh, it does not get much better than challah French toast. It does, and that's if you stuff the bellies with strawberries and cream. I'm going in for a taste. I can just cover up my bite with a pile of strawberries. It's so rich and so perfectly sweet. There are about to be 2 stuffed bellies in this kitchen.
It's my wake and bake breakfast strata. And who doesn't love a good wake and bake moment, right? Put in your fridge overnight, and when you wake up and everybody's rolling out of bed hungry.
Okay.
Oh, they rolling out of bed hungry?
Rolling out of bed hungry, it's time to bake it up.
All right now.
We got some super aged, the most aged cheddar you can, because I want to taste that sharpness.
Okay.
And some whole milk mozzarella right there. Great, both of those. We're going to mix it with this, starting with the base of our strata, which is pretzel rolls.
That's crazy.
Just so much more flavor. Even the smell of it smells like a pretzel, right? That
does.
caramely note right
That's a
there. That's just
pretzel.
gonna stand out. I hate when like people put bread in one of these things and it just turns to mush. And the only texture is like the top exposed crusty bits. So make this even into cubes, just like that. Kaylin is the quickest shredder. Man, if this was Geoffrey as my sous chef, we'd still be here. We're like, hello, it's afternoon. So all these beautiful diced pieces of pretzel roll. And these were the buns that come in usually the 4-pack hamburger buns, but you can get the long ones.
So did you only use 2?
I only use, no, this is 4.
4. Oh, okay.
That's a good foundation right there.
Do I
What-
see deli meat?
Well, this is some ham, all right? So some of the flavors I love pairing, not only cheese with pretzel bun, especially cheddar, but jalapeno and ham. It's just like, goes together so
love
much.
that.
It's like a ballpark meets, you know, a deli sandwich meets just a wonderful breakfast. And 9 eggs, and we're gonna start cracking these into here, okay?
Yeah, the mozzarella's a little tougher to shred.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Yeah.
It is. That's why we put it in the, we actually put that mozzarella in the fridge. You can actually put it in the freezer too for about 10 minutes before you shred it. It'll make it
that
much
would've helped.
easier.
That would have helped.
Or you can cube it if you want to do it with a knife. Why don't you grab that guy? My hands are a little leggy.
Okay, there we go. Great.
Beautiful.
That's gonna
You
help
can-
me out. How much cheese is this?
This is all the cheese we've had
All
in New
the
Jersey.
cheese. Oh, okay.
All the cheese in New Jersey.
Okay.
Okay, so we're whisking these till totally smooth.
Jeff, one of the things I really like about a
Salt.
recipe like this is that the time it takes to bake, that's the coffee time.
Yeah.
You get to really enjoy your cup of coffee,
You're right.
have it on its own,
Yeah.
talk, catch up,
Put a
and
load
then
in the
all
washing
of a
machine.
sudden, here comes the main event.
Yep.
There's literally no mess. Once you do all the prep and put it in the casserole dish here, put it in the fridge overnight, you wake up, you literally
It's
pop it
great
right
if
in the
you
oven.
have house guests,
that.
too.
All right, that's looking good. Thank you so much, Kaylin. In goes the pickled jalapeno.
All right,
right.
throw it up in there.
Put it in there.
Emphasis
cube-
on pickled.
Because it's just so much more flavor.
That's
than
a lot of
regular pepper.
jalapeno in there.
There's a lot, and
You're
you
not
guys,
playing.
you're gonna taste it. Some of that honey ham, and then 3 cups.
Well, you're putting it in with
Of
milk
milk.
and
Yeah.
bread, which are the 2 things that can get rid of that heat on your palate. So it's
And
gonna,
cheese.
Yep, it's gonna really slow it down.
Speaking of cheese, let's give my man here, Kaylin, sous chef.
Oh, you don't need them all?
Look it. No, you put it all in here. Go ahead. I
like
know
cheese.
you're gonna.
You're gonna make
There
me
you
eat
go.
this
Put
And
it
one.
I'm
in there.
excited for this. This is gonna
And
be
now
good.
we're just gonna.
Take a bath in that.
This will feed a crowd too. This is
a
a tremendous
This is a
amount of
hearty
volume
crowd.
here. All right, we already seasoned this with many pinches of salt.
Many pinches.
Mini.
And now
Oh, that's
we're gonna
crazy.
put this. Look at all that
Wow.
beautiful cheese.
that.
Look at. I mean,
Wow.
is this
This is a
nuts?
lot.
You're not mixing it.
Yeah.
You're just pressing it. You
Dude,
don't, you
we're
don't
just-
care. You want the bread at the bottom.
Well, listen, the bread's gonna do its thing in the fridge overnight. I mean, it's literally
It's gonna feel
a
good.
edible
You
sponge.
would toss it, but you don't. That's
So, and
I-
you do
I
want
like it,
those.
like, puffs up.
You want a little more, you want that topography of the exposed edges of the bread and the ham and the cheese and the pepper, just to give you a little texture, caramelization. We're gonna wrap it overnight in the fridge, again, so we can roll out of bed and wake and bake properly. Get the day started on a good note, right? That's what we're doing.
Say it again, Jeff.
You help me out, man. I'm buckling, bro. I'm buckling.
Come on.
I'm buckling.
There you go.
All right,
Just
I got
waiting
one.
on Jeff to come out of his shell.
Yeah. I think it got heavier overnight in the fridge. Did you put anything in there when you were
No,
in your roll?
that's soaking.
It's soaking all right. Look at that.
Density.
Just like it was, but you could see all those little, shards of bread. You can bring this to room temperature, but you can literally throw it right from the fridge into the oven.
Okay.
350 for 40 to 45 minutes. Let's take a gander, Kaylin, shall we?
Let's take a gander.
You see
Bring
that?
that thing on over here.
Oh my, it smells like breakfast. Like
Bring
all
it
the
on
breakfast
over.
in one.
Wow, look at that.
It's pretty.
One of my favorite omelets is a ham cheddar,
Yeah, I
big old
agree.
jalapeno.
Western
yeah,
omelet,
Yeah,
yeah.
same.
Right?
Same.
And I'd rather have the pickled jalapeno, and that smell reminds me of being at the diner and get one of those fluffy omelets.
Would you serve like a hot sauce with this on the side, Jeff, like a traditional?
Oh, yeah.
All
do you think?
right.
No?
You better make it jazzy. I say yes.
I can
Yeah.
have a dollop of sour cream on here too.
Or that?
Okay.
Oh, look at this.
Ooh, look at that corner.
Wow.
Yeah, baby.
Perfection.
There's a mac and cheese vibe going on there.
It is.
Look at that corner. Look at that corner,
That
guy.
looks so good.
Look at that corner.
I mean,
Yeah, no garnish. I mean, this is breakfast. We're trying to keep the fuss out of here.
Oh, the
so.
pickle, the
Well, I
smell
like
of
that you can do it
jalapeno.
the night
That
before, so
jalapeno
it really
in
is a
there.
brunch in bed moment.
Right.
Just wake up and put it in the oven straight from the fridge.
All right, K-Bone, you ready? Can I call you K-Bone?
Yeah, call me that. All right now.
Jeff,
Silly.
this is the perfect. If I had to close my eyes and I didn't know who made this, I would say it was you because it's like the sandwich king of breakfast casseroles.
I'll take it.
It is like a perfectly balanced sandwich, but in breakfast casserole form. It's my avocado toast panzanella.
Oh, yes.
All right? Yes! So we're doing it all in one dish. So it's all the things that you might put on an avocado toast, done panzanella style, which is essentially a bread salad. This is a salad I can totally get behind. All right, this is a great way to make it for a crowd. GZ, I'm putting you on avocado duty. I want you to dice that up for me.
Yes.
And then we're using these little Persian cucumbers. If
Okay.
you do a thin slice on that as well and put
Done.
it all in this bowl. I've got a soft French baguette, not the one that's like the super crusty one, the one that's a little bit softer. And I'm just gonna toss these with some olive oil first. So get a good amount in there and then season them. Very important step. Some salt, and let's hit them with a little bit of pepper. And toss them around. And then I've got a parchment-lined baking sheet here. I'm just gonna spread these out so they get nice and toasty. Okay, this is going into the oven, 400 degrees, 10 to 15 minutes until it's toasted and browned. And then you're gonna let it cool completely. I've got one here that's already done, just like that. And GZ, while you work on that, I'm gonna make the salad dressing. So I like this really bright and lemony. Think about when you do an avocado toast and you squeeze a lemon on top.
best.
So lemon, I've got some chopped capers.
I squeeze
Because-
lime. Am
Yeah, I do
corny?
lime.
You
Okay.
could do lime for sure.
Yeah, I really only do lime, but
Same here.
All right. You do lime, I do lemon. All right, a little Dijon mustard goes in. And then the real pièce de résistance, some everything bagel seasoning.
it goes on everything in our house.
Yep. And give it a good whisk. Now that seasoning already has some salt in it, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more because we got a lot of veggie action going in there and they need the salt. Whisk that up till it's nice and emulsified.
And if you're looking for everything bagels, seasoning, we actually did a recipe on the kitchen, so you can find it on foodnetwork.com.
Amen to that.
Kitchen, yeah.
And I've noticed now it's at the grocery
It is
store
hard to
almost
find.
always. All right, so I'm gonna take some fresh basil and tear it right into here. So we get that nice, bright, herby thing going on. Some halved tomatoes. Because you do your tomatoes on your avocado
Panzanella.
toast sometimes. And then thinly sliced red onion. I've got that on avocado toast a lot. GZ, get those in there. And will you put all those in there? I just realized I didn't put any olive oil in my dressing. Hello.
Ooh, that was close.
Oh, that was close.
Okay, you could have just drizzled afterwards.
All right, so let's get a nice healthy amount of olive oil in there.
I find, Katie, that
whisk it up.
avocados need, like, they drink salt.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
never put enough salt on an avocado.
Yeah, you really have to salt it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's toss this
Oh,
together
baby.
now with the dressing.
Speaking of salt, should I put some in?
Yes.
It's a nice, healthy start to the new year here, too.
This is a
right?
healthy
Yeah.
salt. We were talking about this would be great with like a poached shrimp or something.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
fun?
Well, you know what my New Year's tradition is? About 9:30, I go to bed.
That's it.
What?
Wow, you
Yeah,
should write
we-
a book on that.
We have
That
a
sounds
nice
like-
dinner, and then we go to sleep. I don't even stay up to watch
No,
the
it's a
ball
lot.
drop.
Have you guys
I
ever
gotta
been to
work
Times
on it.
Square?
No.
I have. I do it every year.
That's
Geoffrey always
right.
does
Every year we have a
Yeah.
restaurant in Times Square.
So many
Crossroads
people.
of the world.
It's
It's
only a
beautiful.
million and a half people. It's fine.
It's only a million. It's nice.
And okay, GZ, while I
Yep.
plate this up,
Yep.
slice those eggs in half for
Yes,
me. Because
ma'am.
what do you usually have on your avocado toast?
Hey.
Well, how would you like them
I
sliced?
love
Just
this.
sliced in half. And this is gonna go in a nice, pretty serving dish. I mean, you put this on the brunch table, everybody's going for it. Tell them avocado's not extra at your house.
Okay. Those 3 hungry little slices they give you for $2 extra.
Right? Now, I usually like to let this sit for about 20 minutes and get nice and soft, but it's all right if it doesn't. And then I just take my eggs
Wow.
and kind of arrange them around.
Pretty.
These are medium boil. I like the yolk to still have a little softness to it.
Yeah.
Will you pass me the salt and pepper?
Yes, ma'am.
And let's hit each one of those eggs with just a
That's
little
another thing
salt.
that needs salt. Eggs
Yep.
and avocado, right?
Yeah.
Hit them with a little bit of pepper all the way around. And then I like a little crumbled feta cheese on top of
This
this.
has got everything you'd ever have.
I'm gonna
in
tear
anything.
this bread salad up.
Totally. And you could do queso fresco. That would be really good
Queso
too. Okay.
I love queso fresco.
So do I.
Tortilla would be.
I'm sure that on New
Yeah.
Year's Day we have this and with like 2 bottles of wine.
Exactly.
And then you really.
Pass
then
me
you take-
another
So much for light and clean.
basil.
And you sleep like a baby that day.
I know about your New Year's brunches,
Oh, we have
Geoffrey.
epic brunches. That's actually better than New Year's Eve in a lot of ways. Thank you.
Taste that. Tell me what you think.
Well, it just look at that. It
So much
looks-
going on.
Just looks visually stunning. It's like a Matisse painting.
Oh, wow, Matisse. Good guy, great artist.
This is so delightful and so surprising. It all works. There's a lot of ingredients in here, but none of them get in the way.
A shortcut puff pastry quiche. So I'm making the egg mixture, which is a great way to start any quiche recipe. I beat some eggs and I'm adding some salt and pepper, and then a good amount of half and half, and then sour cream. Nice pile of sour cream. And then I just need to whisk this mixture until it is completely combined. I think the magical thing about quiche is that you can serve it absolutely any time of day. I really love this puff pastry version because all you have to do is thaw the puff pastry. You don't have to make the pastry yourself. That is the egg mixture. So speaking of puff pastry, I have 2 sheets. And again, this is frozen puff pastry. And I'm just gonna lay it right into half of this baking dish. I'm gonna overlap 2 sheets. All right, I think that looks good. Just kind of bring whatever's hanging over the sides down so that it's right around the top rim of the pan. All right, so the pastry is ready. Now I'm gonna lay on a bed of cheese. This is grated pepper jack cheese. It adds just a tiny bit of spice and it's really, really creamy. I sauteed some leaves of Swiss chard. I just took them off the stems and sauteed them in a little butter, salted them, peppered them, but you can do kale, you can do spinach, any kind of dark leafy green is perfect for this. So now this egg mixture gets poured all over the top. Emphasis on over the top. Oh gosh, I love quiche. All right, so for color and flavor, I'm gonna add some little grape tomatoes. They're cut in half. I'm gonna arrange them cut side up. I'm sorry, but tricolor cherry tomatoes just make everything look prettier. So I have this beautiful fresh dill, which is a great herb for eggy breakfast dishes. And I'm just doing a little sprinkle. You can put as little or as much as you like. So for baking, there are actually 2 stages. I'm gonna lightly cover the pan for the first stage, and it's gonna cook at 375 degrees for 20 minutes. Then I'll take the foil off and let it bake for another 20 minutes. See what this looks like in here. It sure does smell good. Oh, gosh, it's so beautiful. Taking the time to arrange those tomatoes so that the cut side is up is really worth it. Now, unfortunately, it's always best to let quiche sit for 10 or 15 minutes before you slice it. So I'm gonna sit here and stare at its beauty and try to be patient.
To make these cheesy baked eggs, I'm gonna use mustard greens. Mustard greens don't get a lot of love. Are they bitter? Yes. It has a mustardy taste, and it's really, really peppery. So what the mustard green is gonna do is just gonna give this dish a nice little kick. You can always use something like collard greens. You can add field greens. And I'm gonna smash and mince 1 clove of garlic to saute with the greens and a little butter. And this dish is super, super easy. Just gonna put my garlic right on top. This is a cheesy baked egg. So of course I'm using lots of eggs, a dozen. I'm gonna add a ½ a cup of milk, 2 cups of hand shredded sharp cheddar. That's gonna add that bite to it. And I have 2 cups of Monterey Jack, which is really, really melty. It will just smooth it out and make it nice and mellow. And hash browns, because it's all the elements of breakfast in one dish. ½ a cup baking mix, and baking mix is gonna help it get nice and fluffy because it has the baking soda, the baking powder. Few pinches of kosher salt and cracked black pepper. Just wanna make sure all of the yolk is broken up. So that's done. I need to saute the garlic and the greens, kind of release some of those flavors and counteract that bitterness. Add it to my baking dish with the eggs and cheese, put it in the oven, and that's it. My skillet is nice and hot. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I'm using unsalted butter because I've already salted my egg and cheese mixture. I don't wanna add any more salt from the butter. Ooh, garlic and butter just wakes up your senses. So I'm doing a quick saute on the greens and the garlic because it unlocks the flavor. I want a lot of that flavor to come through in the baking dish. Dump it right into the eggs and cheese. Smells amazing. I have a 9x13 baking dish here that I've buttered to make sure that when it's done baking, it comes out easily. I'm gonna pour that right in there. Not only does the mustard green give it a nice little spicy kick, but it also adds color. And the baking mix that I added is gonna make it nice and airy. I have my oven preheated to 350. I'm gonna let this bake uncovered for about 45 to 50 minutes. Oh, wow, that is gorgeous. It's puffed up, it's nice and airy, and I can tell the way the cheese is melted that it's gonna be super cheesy and gooey.
Easy strawberry and raspberry Danish.
All right.
Now, they sell croissant dough. Usually you can get it with the perforations, but they also now just sell it in a sheet.
Wow.
Okay,
What is she
so
gonna do?
if you could please come over here. You might not even know how to roll it out. So look, you see that lip right there?
Yeah.
You're gonna roll it towards you and you see these little perforations?
Yeah.
Just pinch at the perforations to make sure when we roll this up, it doesn't come apart, okay? Now, the next ingredient is going to be some freeze-dried fruit. And then just pound it out, you know? All right, so that's all you've got to do, and I'll show you what it's going to look like. You're going to get little bits of sand, some small pebbles, and every once in a while you're going to get something that didn't quite get crushed completely, and that's okay. It's giving it personality, okay? Now, over the top, just take some of that pounded, freeze-dried fruit all over the place. This is the most amazing hack. So this brown sugar is gonna help rehydrate, and then a little granulated sugar. Okay, so this is a life hack. I do this a lot when I need like little tiny bits of butter, just kind of grate it over the top.
That's so smart.
That wrapper on as a handle.
Yeah, so then now the game is just to roll it up. If you start this cold, it's very easy to roll up. You won't have to worry about any flour or anything like that tightly. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I mean,
Nice tight roll. And then literally just, we're gonna make 8 out of this. So just kind of go in half and half.
good.
I've got an 8x8 right here that's just been cooking sprayed down on the bottom and the sides. I've got the oven set at 375. Just about 15 minutes after that.
Grapple, boom.
Done. Now, you know what we always like is a little bit of a glaze over the top. So very simply, you're just gonna get some powdered sugar, gonna add in a little bit of this dust, and then if you have some lemon juice, some water, some orange juice, even a little bit of milk or heavy cream, that's all you need. A tiny pinch of salt as well is nice. And there you have it.
I've got 8 potatoes that I baked at 400 for about 45 minutes or so. I baked them until they were just tender. They're totally cooled, so they're really easy to grate. If they were still hot, I wouldn't be able to hold on to them. The grated potatoes are gonna wind up looking like little nests, and then I crack an egg in. They're so adorable. All right, I got all the potatoes grated, which is a good thing because the grater is totally full. So I'll just fish all of them out of there. They are packed. Okay, now this is a lot of potatoes, so I'm gonna season them pretty well with plenty of salt. I'll just toss them around with my fingers, and plenty of pepper. And when these bake, they're gonna get nice and crisp. I just love these things, so good. All right, now I've got 2 muffin pans, and to make sure the nests don't stick, I'm gonna spray them really, really well with cooking spray. All right, the second one. And now I'll make the nests. I'm gonna take about 3 to 4 tablespoons of the potato mixture and put it into one of the muffin tins. Then I'll use my fingers to really, really lightly press it so it goes around the sides. You wanna get little jagged edges of potatoes on the sides. That's what makes it look like a nest. All right, 1 tray of nests done, 1 more to go. That's a lot of nests. All right, now the very last thing, I'm gonna spray the tops really lightly with just a little more cooking spray. That'll help them get nice and crisp and sizzly in the oven. All right, I'm gonna pop these into a 450-degree oven for just about 15 or 20 minutes. They're gonna start to get a little bit crisp and golden brown. Oh yeah, these look good. Starting to get nice and crisp around the edges. I smell that potato, yum. All right, now I'm gonna let these cool. This is such a cool little dish, so cute and so delicious. All right, I'm just gonna crack an egg and drop it into each cup. All right, now I've got a lot more to do, so I better get cracking. All right, now I'm just gonna sprinkle these with salt and pepper. Ooh, these look good. Plenty of pepper. I like pepper on my eggs. All right, now these just need to go into a 400-degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes.
So in the pan here, I've cooked about 2 cups of boiling potatoes. They're the firm, round ones rather than the baking potatoes. And I peeled them and just cooked them in a little butter for about 10 or 15 minutes until they're really just tender and browned. And they should be perfect right now. Now I'm gonna make the basis of it, which is this gorgeous omelet all mixed together. I'm gonna start with, just like an omelet, 8 eggs. And I actually find that you can use whatever's left over from dinner. If you have chicken and broccoli the night before, it makes a delicious frittata. Counting. 1 more. I'm gonna just scramble them a little bit. And then we're gonna add lots of great flavorings. About 15 ounces of ricotta, which is 1 whole small container. And then 3/4 of a pound of Gruyere cheese. Gruyère's this wonderful, like Swiss cheese. I know, it's eggs, cheese, and butter. It's delicious. How bad can that be? And then a little bit of butter. the last major food group. I'm not suggesting you eat this every day, but once in a while for a treat, it's wonderful. And then basil. I think basil is just such a great flavoring. So I'm just take the leaves off the stems and chop them very roughly. I love the smell of fresh basil. And then the last two ingredients are 1/3 of a cup of flour to give it a little substance, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder to make it rise. So just stir this all together. Make sure it's nicely blended. Cheeses and the basil and eggs. And that's it. I'm just going to pour this right over the potato. And then this whole thing goes in the oven. So instead of making individual omelets for everybody, I have one big omelet and we're all going to share it. So it goes in the oven at 350 degrees for about 50 minutes to an hour, and it's going to be puffed and golden and delicious. Oh, how gorgeous is that? Whew. And just in case you're all still hungry, I have a potato basil frittata.
What's in this, Ina?
It's potatoes and basil and Gruyere and ricotta, and it's beautiful. Devin, ricotta. There are a lot of voices coming from over here. It's hot, hot, hot.
Oh, fantastic. Are there leeks in it?
Thank you. I think that one's. This is my idea of a great way to start the day.